Alright, so it's the weekly reset for the 23rd of September. This Tuesday, we get another game update for D2. Surprise, surprise on that one. Pretty much weekly updates again at this point. And right here we have the patch notes, so we'll cover that. On top of that, we'll speak about some of the content rolling out this week. That includes the epic raid that'll be dropping this weekend. Otherwise, as we'll see, this is the first week, outside of the epic raid at least, where there is not a featured event for Ash and Iron, so a couple of things worth bearing in mind on that front. Otherwise, we'll round up how some of the changes will affect our gameplay this week, take a look at the portal featured activities, as well as the Eververse store and other vendors in the game. So, as always guys, I hope you find this video helpful, and if you do, then be sure to hit subscribe and I'll keep you posted with more Destiny content, but otherwise, let's get into it. And so starting out initially, we'll cover the patch changes in just a moment, but this is the first week since Ash and Iron dropped where no event is currently featured. Of course, we had the Reclaim thing and then Iron Banner. Reclaim is still available, sorry, I was referring to Call to Arms, which was the name of the event on week 1. Basically though, the submersion crossbow that some folks have been going after is only available when an event is active in the Ash and Iron era, so as far as I understand it, that means it cannot drop this week. But it will return next time we get an event, which I think will be Arms Week in a couple of weeks' time. Otherwise, Saturday of this week, we will see the launch of the epic Desert Perpetual raid. That will come with its contest mode initially, beginning at 10 AM Pacific time on Saturday, which is 6 PM in the UK. In other words, that's the daily reset time. So I know some folks will be jumping in and trying it out, others will watch live streams of it, no doubt. And if you watch a featured streamer while it's active with your Bungie account linked, there is an emblem that you can unlock for watching for a certain period of time. So I'll link an article down below that has all of the details on that. Otherwise, we'll get more information about that, I'm sure, throughout the week, so I'll keep you posted. Now though, onto the patch notes for today, which is update 9102. And so, firstly for Desert Perpetual, they've increased power gains in the raid between 300 and 400 power. That's what they described last week. They've also said the minimum tier for drops in Desert Perpetual will be tier 3, with additional feats increasing chances for tier upgrades. They also adjusted the Cutthroat Combatant modifier to now count as 2 feats, so that's generally good. And they removed the weekly lockout on exotic weapon rewards in Legacy Raid and Dungeon activities, so basically those are now entirely farmable, which is good. Otherwise, in the portal, they've removed the mention of seasonal gear being a factor in the reward score multiplier. They say it's purely a visual change, and the functionality was changed in a previous update, so it now basically describes that. Otherwise, or doesn't describe it, sorry. Otherwise, they fixed an issue where the extinction modifier was not functioning as intended. On top of that, all Reclaim activities have had matchmaking added to them as a permanent option, which is good. Brigs also do more damage in Reclaim now. They also fixed a problem with Pressure Cooker, where it didn't allow players to receive their time score bonus, and an issue where Taken Blights were doing too much damage to players at higher difficulties in the Whisper Pinnacle op. I think it also affects the Dreaming City in Patrol. Bit of a random one, players were basically getting deleted by those Blights. Otherwise, they fixed an issue causing players to encounter guitar errors in the Contest of Elders, and an issue where the Nightmare of Galrun Pinnacle Ops required Shadowkeep in order to actually launch it, which is kind of cheeky. Moving on though, for Trials, they fixed an issue where lobby balancing in Trials had not been disabled as intended, so it now should be, which is certainly a positive. And as we move forward, we get all of the exotic changes. So it basically returned the super-based elemental keyword application to Chromatic Fire's explosions. For Controverse Hold, reinstated the energy return for Vortex grenades, as well as their ability to trigger the exotic perk twice. Then they fixed an issue on Younger Hamkara's Spine, where it wasn't granting the correct amount of grenade energy, and it should now always give the intended plus 8% in PvP and plus 33% in PvE, that's before stat scaling. Otherwise, they increased the reserves on Grand Overture from 58 to 258 from 48. Graviton Spike also sees that reduced AoE damage bonus on Stasis Overcharge hits, which goes from 30 to 1 versus players, so kind of a big change. Otherwise on Sturm, an issue where the overcharge shots were buffing outgoing damage from any source, so basically it fixes the bug and the issue where kills from sources other than Together Forever weapons were able to grant Sturm overcharged shots. They also reverted the 8% nerf to Queenbreaker damage versus bosses, and the 15% nerf to the charge time bonus from combat sites, so a few weapon ones there. Not surprising about Sturm. I don't think this actually... Oh, yes, it does. It mentions the issue with lightweight frame swords dealing more damage than they should without ammo. So they also fixed an issue with New Land Beyond where the catalyst was not activating at 20 stacks of the master. Otherwise, an issue where grenade and melee stats were giving less passive energy regeneration than intended. So at base, those cooldowns should now be shorter. And there are a bunch of general fixes, including silver prices for episode Heresy Stasis armor sets, finishers, and emotes being reduced to their intended amounts because they were costing more than they should. You'll spot a few general sort of issues that have been fixed, including chronologs not being collected if the inventory was full. Keep in mind, they've also said, don't store chronologs in the vault because that can cause another issue. But otherwise, that basically sums up the patch. Quite a few fixes and changes in there, so give us your thoughts below. Now though, as we get into the game, interesting pop-up here, Deluge starts now. They say Deluge spawns wells that increase grenade, melee, or super energy after defeating combatants in portal activities. So another sort of portal boost right there, more on the sandbox side as opposed to rewards, but of course, depending how potent that is, it may help us get more rewards if it's kind of, busted or allows us to farm through stuff faster. So an interesting one, definitely be aware of it. Look out for those wells that you can pick up to get bonuses to various abilities. Pretty cool stuff. Let's take a very quick look at the portal right here, just for the day. Of course, Bungie have said they've added matchmaking to some of those reclaim activities. Otherwise, pretty standard stuff in solo ops right here. Nothing absolutely mind-blowing or surprisingly different in terms of rewards. These are the reclaim activities that now all have matchmaking, so you can target more specific ones, I suppose. We do have Mint Retrograde as a feature drop right here on Nightmare of Galron, so that's nice if you need to look to farm one of those today. Otherwise, yeah, you'll have to check out the portal and the featured rewards. There's a new SMG as well, I think you can get in Pinnacle Ops. It's not come up while I've been paying any real attention, but nonetheless, I'll keep an eye out for that as we move through the week. Let's take a look at the Eververse store while we're in orbit, so hopefully stuff will actually load. I got some, oh yeah, each week there is free Bright Dust, according to this. I'm assuming everyone's getting that little boost of 700 Bright Dust. For the front page Bright Dust items though, we have the Birthday Cake exotic multiplayer emote initially right here, which is a pretty cool one from back in Echoes. Otherwise, we do have the Mark from one of the Universal Ornament sets up this season. That's up for 1200 Bright Dust. And then we have the Roach VGH exotic Sparrow available this week. Kind of Tex Mechanica meets Hive almost. Actually, no, of course, this was one of the theme sets from back in, which season was that? Season of the Wish. It's up for 2500 Bright Dust. And then we have the Resurrected Shadow Transman effect for 450 Bright Dust. A new shader for this season called Rubelite right here, which is actually kind of cool. Looking at it, there's a bit of animation going on, kind of like crystals almost, ruby crystals, I guess, that are sort of moving and weaving. So kind of nice shader right there. You're gonna see me make a rare Eververse purchase with my stack of Bright Dust. Otherwise, on the front page, we also have Dream Cycle available, which actually looks fairly nice as well. Moving over to the main Bright Dust section though, we have the Pointed Offering multiplayer emote first up for 4,250 Bright Dust, which is a pretty cool one. Additionally though, we've got class items once again, this time from the Malware set for 1,200 Bright Dust, and then there is the Firebreak Shell, of course a classic here for 2,850 Bright Dust, and as we move along, there is the Leonine Fidelity, if I'm saying that correctly, exotic ship, the kind of Neon Fighting Lion style thing for 2,000 Bright Dust, and then Neon Scratch, so also from that set, of course, this time around, from this season as well for 2,500 Bright Dust, and the ornament for Fighting Lion that matches that for 1,250 Bright Dust, kind of Vex Network themes on that one, which is pretty cool. Otherwise, there is the Rolling Projection, the Ghost Projection right there. Haven't seen that one before. 1,500 Bright Dust. They're very expensive. I'm not sure why they're so much more expensive than other things. Doesn't really make sense. But finally, for the second page of shaders, we have Chitin Slate available up first. Once again, all of these will be 300 Bright Dust. There is additionally Circadian Chill, which is quite a nice one. And then we have Nectar Dynamo here, as well as Copperbrand. Of course, many of these have come up quite a few times, but worth grabbing. Finally though, Fallen Arrival, as well as Warsat Arrival, and the Orrery Entrance Transman effects, all for 450 Bright Dust. So let us know if you'll grab anything from the store this week. Here though, we may as well finish by checking out Shader 1's wares down here in the annex, just in case there's anything of particular interest. We shall see. For the armor, we do have, I believe, the Season Pass set from back in episode Heresy, if you want to grab that to turn into ornaments or anything like that. For shaders though, we've got Midnight Exigent from back in the Warmind era. Actually a pretty nice shader there if you like your sort of yellow and black vibes. I'm not sure Ada 1 sold that before, so that's nice to get. These are 10,000 Glimmer. Otherwise, there is Kairos Bronze available this week. Kind of Vex vibes going on there. And finally, Dead Orbit's Fate is also up in the store if you're after any older faction shaders. Otherwise, for this week, guys, that's what we have to round up. So, as always, I hope you found the video helpful. If you have, a rating below very much helps me out on the channel. Be sure to get subscribed as well so that I can keep you up to date. Otherwise, though, thank you for watching, and whatever you get up to, I hope you have an awesome day.